v.h.s.x? What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today I wanted to react and have a discussion about a video from Twins Ming Sage talking about Dead by Daylight's unfinished characters. I'm curious to see what it's about. I've seen that Skull Merchant was in there and also Twins apparently. I'm actually kind of curious because in a lot of ways I think that these characters were left in the dust to some extent, but Twins I don't really, I mean I do know that they're constantly bugged every every patch or so, but unfinished, I mean I don't know. I mean I off the bat I kind of disagree a little bit. I mean they did get a nice buff. They're considered, I mean, one of the top killers in the game, I think, up to this point, but then again they're also bugged every game, so like, well, it's every patch, I mean, yeah. Let's dive in. Let's see what it's about. Let's just get into it. Original video will be linked in the description. Let's jump right in.
Some bugs were able to be fixed, including Victor being completely countered by lockers, but they did not come to the live game in a good state. A common term used by DVD people is spaghetti code. The Twins are made of spaghetti code. For years, every patch would break the Twins in one way or another. I remember in 2022, there was a game-breaking bug for months that led me to taking a break from them altogether. The bug got fixed, and things were looking up with their—
Yeah, that is definitely a common thing that I've seen a lot of when talking about Twins, is that they're just like the most bugged characters in the, or character I should say, in the game. And I think that on top of the fact that they're just, at least from my perspective, not the most, I would say, appealing to say the least character to play in the roster. Yeah, that checks out. I mean, that probably affects their pick rate. I mean, I would have, like I've said before in a previous video, I believe their character design might be part of it. You're, walking around with a with somebody wearing rags with a hole in their chest and a little dude is in there, like, it sounds kind of terrifying on the surface, but it's kind of not. Like, at least not terrifying enough, and it's kind of grotesque in a lot of ways. And I think that I would say the vast majority probably either just don't really relate or appeal to that, I guess, sort of type of horror, or just feel like maybe the design really can only be so scary, I guess, which I don't know, right? I don't know. Speaking for myself, obviously, I'm not really interested in the character for a multitude of reasons. I mean, number one on the list, like I can list off here. Twins to me, I wouldn't say is like really my style in terms of character design. I don't really think that they're really scary enough, in my opinion. Like, I think that if they were more like, I guess, more horrifying looking than just like somebody just wearing rags or something like that and has a weapon, I think would probably make me more inclined to want to play them in a lot of ways. I would also say they're like extremely buggy. The power also just seems very difficult to kind of understand as a beginner, like, because obviously you're trying to launch a little dude to dash at him and stuff like that. But like when I was trying to, like, at the time that I did try to play them, I was like, when am I supposed to be slugging them? Like, do I use it and then walk away? Like, do I chase the person with Victor on them? I never really was able to pick that up when I even tried playing them at the time, which was like a long time ago. But I wasn't really sure the right way to play them anyway, and I really just did not feel the motivation to even look up a guide in the first place. So it's definitely, at least as somebody who just doesn't play Twins for a multitude of reasons, that kind of covers a couple reasons why. Also, their cosmetics, I would just say, that are just not the most interesting in my opinion, for me personally. Not to say that they're bad cosmetics. I mean, I've seen great, like, Twins have good cosmetics, but I would just say, like, it just doesn't appeal to me personally, which is perfectly fine. Not everything is going to appeal to everyone.
their upcoming rework. In an attempt to limit the Twins' ability to slug, the devs accidentally created the strongest killer in the game for a PTB. Victor could injure and down people with no issue. He was invulnerable after hitting someone. He was a little force of nature. They rolled back the changes and just added some quality of life adjustments that made them smoother to play. And for a time, the twins were okay to play. Cut to a few weeks ago, where I discovered not one but two ways for the twins' power to entirely break. Let's see, is that a constant bug? Oh yeah, that's just a permanent. Nope.
Wow. You know, I've never seen these bugs before, and I gotta say they're actually pretty hilarious. I'm not even gonna lie. One, Twitch just being just like slumped, and then you got like Victor just just moving around like he's at sea. Like these are just actually pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. Like, god damn. But if I was the twins main, I would have crashed out. I'm not even gonna lie. That's insane.
Okay, well, I guess, okay, like, we're kind of making progress, because you can actually, like, move around and use your power, but Victor's fucking drunk. Victor is falling over. And these are just the bugs that I myself experienced. I know for a fact that there are more than these two. It just feels like the twins were never actually finished. And they'll have these phases where they're playable, and then a big change will come to the game, and they'll break again. Now, gameplay-wise, the best way to use their power is to lean into using Victor to slug survivors. You know what survivors hate? Being slugged. They also have an unintuitive power that's both difficult to learn and inconsistent, because it's entirely likely that while switching between Charlotte and Victor, you'll get bugged out and have to DC or wait out the rest of the game, unable to do anything. No wonder they have the lowest pick rate in the game. So they're neglected by the developers, the designers, disliked by the survivors, and here I am clinging desperately to them because I made them my personality 3 years ago, and I'm not stopping now. Twins are the buggy.
That is an extremely relatable standpoint that Twins main Sage is on, honestly. Just first and foremost, just sticking by your character despite how absolutely terrible the experience is to play them is something that I think a lot of us can relate to, especially if you main a low tier killer, especially like Ghostface. We already know one of the most garbage bottom tier characters in the game. Right next to Skull Merchant, as you know, and which is funny because they actually have a Ghostface has a pretty decent pick rate, but and then just having your whole channel be around that, yeah.
The unfinished mistake that the entity doesn't want to acknowledge. But they're not the only mistake brought into the fog. Let's talk about an even more tragic tale.
Oh yeah, you know what's funny is that talking about both Skull Merchant and talking about twins, it's like I would say both characters are characters that I have tried in the past and just not haven't really enjoyed playing, I would say, and I would say I found it difficult to kind of understand what players really liked about playing those characters, what people really liked about those characters as a whole, because when I played Skull Merchant, I think since her release, I had played a bit of that when she was like at her peak prime DC menace, and then you had like the somewhat nerfs that occurred, and then the full-on just gutted Skull Merchant I have also played as well. And even throughout that, I wasn't entirely sure what the appeal was, which is not to say that there isn't any appeal or to say that it's a bad thing if you like the character, but I'm just saying from my perspective, I just didn't really understand it. I wasn't really sure what there was. There wasn't really anything for me to enjoy, I guess, if that made sense. Said also as well of like I play a lot of M1 killers, so like adding a new one to my list is just it's already too much, you know. Like at this point, we need something fresh. When it comes to this character, like I felt like the base design wasn't very good. I feel like Skull Merchant's cosmetics are some of the best cosmetics for the most part. I have to say there are some that are like just hot dog water terrible, but regardless, besides that, I think, you know, that was pretty good. Now, obviously, even like playing them, I didn't think it was very interesting from my perspective. Like I wasn't really about the whole 3-genning thing. Just didn't care for it. Even nowadays, I just don't. It hasn't even been my playstyle. I try to avoid it. It's just I didn't find it very interesting. And then obviously I don't play her now because she's the worst character in the game now, right next to Ghostface. So it's like I would think that it's not worth it. It's not good. But yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think of Skull Merchant in the comment section. For the Skull Merchant enjoyers, try to sell it, man. Try to sell us like what's on. Try to sell a Skull Merchant because I'm curious to hear what it is that is so appealing about the character.
The history of the Skull Merchant. On release, I was pretty underwhelmed by the eyes in the sky power. From the teaser, I was expecting a cyborg or a robot, and that's just not what I...
Oh yes, I want to touch on what Twins Main Sage just said there. That is another main reason why I think that the vast majority of the player base that did see this release were very disappointed. I myself included, I was fully expecting some kind of robot. I was fully expecting some kind of like literal like robot that's obsessed with skulls that like steals it and uses it to like modify themselves or something of that nature, like some kind of undead zombie, like, you know, weird machine that somebody like built, you know what I mean? I thought that would have been insane. Like my expectations for what Skull Merchant would have been was so vastly different than, hey, I just slap a skull onto a drone and call it a day. I don't know. Like I don't get it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like especially with the marketing, like if you're looking at this not even knowing what Skull Merchant is, and you're like, hey, it's a killer, right? That's all you're told. Hey, it's a killer, and there's a skull, and there's wires and machinery, tools, and it's called like, what is it called? Like Tools of Torment. You're sitting here thinking, especially when this is the only thing you have to go off of, you're probably thinking like, yo, this probably got to be like a robot, like somebody took like the bodies and like made machines, like yo, that would have been insane. But instead, we got bedazzled mask and a blade masking tape to the arm. Like, come on, man.
Expecting a cyborg or a robot, and that's just not what I got.
I don't know. I don't even understand why it's even called Skull Merchant, because they just have the skull there just to put it on the drone. I'm like, why? Like,
drones have a radius that would provide information about who's nearby, and if the survivors stay in that radius long enough, they would get exposed. Enter the infamous Chess Merchant. A playstyle was created around the Skull Merchant power and these newly buffed gen perks where the killers would place their drones around a 3-gen and entirely prioritize protecting the generators over anything else. There were recorded examples of comp teams being...
Which, by the way, I'm glad that we have pictures of the drones. This is what I'm talking about. Like this skull being on the drone serves no purpose. Like, this design is very just, I gotta say, it's pretty terrible in terms of horror and in terms of just overall, like this, in terms of scary. Like, this isn't really something that I would say is really scary, honestly. I think it's quite literally the opposite. You know, you don't really want to run away. You actually want to get up close, to be honest. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, can you imagine if it was like a cyborg zombie, like undead machine thing that was like that? That would have been crazy. Like with a skull, like being like the kind of walking around. Oh my God. That would have been crazy. Like, you know what I mean? The ideas you could have had from that would have been insane. Like this weird, like haphazard wires everywhere, like barely functioning type of machinery with like tied in with this weird like sci-fi aspects of like some kind of almost mechanical necromancer would have been absolutely insane. But of course, we don't get that.
Held hostage by this playstyle for like an hour. And then Skull Merchant was buffed. Survivors on her radar would give
Damn!
her a stacking haste
I didn't know
buff,
she got
and if a
buffed.
survivor had a claw trap, they would break a pallet after fast vaulting it. These buffs were meant to limit her 3-genning and encourage more of a chase-focused power, but they didn't do enough, so the devs moved on to a full rework. The drones now had a stealth mode. When a survivor was detected, the drones would enter a scanning mode. If the survivor was scanned 3 times, they'd get injured and get a claw trap. Subsequent scans would hinder the survivor. The drones no longer detect survivors on generators or survivors standing still. Finally, the current iteration of Skull Merchant, which I've seen referred to as Dead Merchant. Basically, this last version of her power, but with 7 nerfs attached. No more stealth mode, nerfed hinder and haste, and a removed scan line. Survivors are now immune to scans while fast vaulting. Let me tell you, when I played my first game of Skull Merchant in her current state, I felt hopeless. I literally thought that placing a drone gives you 8 seconds of undetectable, and that was her entire power. Playing a bit more, I was able to figure out the scan lines, and I even got a couple of injures, but her power feels gutted. It feels incomplete. I talked to some Skull Merchant mains in my community, along with the #1 merchant main ever. Shout out Vindruva for helping me with this part of the script.
You serious, bro? There's people that still main Skull Merchant even now? Damn, dude. What? Bro, we need to speak to these people, man. Some way, somehow, we need to get into contact with as many Skull Merchants mains as we can to kind of get an understanding of what is the what is the idea here? How do we get here? How did you get here? How did you become the #1? You know what I mean? Like, how do you do that? Like, what is the leaderboard tracking? Like, how do you what's going on? Like, this character is one of the lowest picked and doesn't even have a power. Like, what? I need to know. We need interviews with these people. We need to know, because I need to understand it, because I'm so curious to kind of hear like what draws them to Skull Merchant, what keeps them there and keeps them playing despite the fact that they got gutted so much.
One similarity between these people was the sheer amount of hate they get for playing this character. Death threats. One person mentioned getting doxxed. Just an immense amount of toxicity. The community has no.
Hold up. This is the same killer that Ev in the behavior team had just made a throwaway joke on the anniversary and was getting absolutely flamed for just saying, hey, I don't like Skull Merchant either, LOL. And was getting flamed by the DBD community. So at the same time, are we freaking surprised that the DBD community comes out, like they're the few that come out of the little sewer holes to poke their heads out and cause chaos, once again decides to do that? Why? I don't know. It's literally a video game where you're playing fictional people in a game getting tortured by an eldritch horror. Like, what? Like, what are we doing right now? This is a video game. Why are we I don't know. I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, what are we talking about?
Not gotten over this grudge that they hold against Skull Merchant for the 3-genning. This is not a hot take. People don't deserve hate for playing a character in a video game.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter that you don't like going against Skull Merchant. The person playing her is a human being deserving of respect and compassion.
It's
just
a
like
video
everyone
game.
else. So why did I decide to talk about these two characters in one video? Well, I think they have a lot in common. There's always going to be a character that's not popular, but the twins and Skull Merchant are not just unpopular, they're entirely neglected and despised. The entity's least favorite children. They both had disappointing PTBs and failed reworks. They encourage unpopular playstyles and have powers that are inconsistent or unfun to use because of bugs or nerfs. The biggest takeaway I had from their reworks attempts to fix these characters is that the developers or balancing team just have no idea what twins and the Skull Merchant are supposed to be. They're walking identity crises. When I first saw Skull Merchant, I was not remotely drawn to her as a character. The biggest
I completely agree, especially with the expectation that Skull Merchant was going to be, like I've said, like this zombie necromancer robot thing. Like, that would have been absolutely in freaking, like a mechanical necromancer where you got like zombies covered in machinery attacking people. That would have been freaking insane. Like it could have been one, like some kind of weird fleshy creature or something like that. That would have been insane. But we got this, and I'm like, I just don't understand. Especially in my opinion, I think the mask is probably the most egregious part of the design, in my opinion. Like a bedazzled gas mask. Like, are we really? Are we being for real? Like, are we so for real right now? And mind you, this character is supposed to be like some kind of like rich person, higher up type, and she has a bedazzled gas mask. Like, if you got all like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I guess they're trying to kind of make her like seem more I don't know. I mean, like, you're using this dirty, greasy looking like masking tape on the forearm type of gear, but apparently she's like comes from a rich family. So I'm like, I don't understand. Like, is this supposed to be the way you show that? Like, oh look, the mask is bedazzled. Like, why? Like, I don't understand. It's so goofy. I don't understand. But I don't know. And it's not even to bag on the Skull Merchant mains as a whole, by the way. Like, this is all for jokes, but ultimately, I just don't get it.
Reason being that she seemed like the complete opposite of twins. I'm pretty sure I even said that she looked like she'd bully Charlotte for her appearance. But now, after all the bullshit that I've seen them put up with, I feel like twins mains and Skull Merchant mains are united by undying loyalty to a fundamentally unfinished character.
If you guys want to watch the rest of the video, it'll be linked in the description. If you want to see the original, go ahead and do that. While you're down there, you can check out the links to support the channel in different ways. But for those of you that are still here, we can quickly have a little conclusion here. I have to say, let me know what you guys think of the video. Do you relate to any of the takes in here, man? Are you a Skull Merchant or Twins main? Sound off in the comments and let us know. Try to sell us your killer, man. Let us know what's the vibes. Like, what do you like about these characters? And yeah, follow on Twitch to watch me play Killer live. I'll see you guys in the next video.